enjoy the show, play on Perjangers.
Man, you trying to look as old as me? Huh?
I'm about there now.
Me? Huh? You got breaks ahead of me?
Oh yeah. Since I left the fire department, I could grow one now.
Oh, real? Oh, really? Okay. Okay. Retired?
Yeah, I retired.
Nice. Okay. All right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
old man's done.
while you can, when you can grow a beard, I say go for the whole thing. I can only grow this much. Like
Oh really?
if I don't shave, it still looks like this. There's like maybe 2-3
Really?
hairs on the side cheek, and that's it. It only grows right here. So I figured,
So you got little whiskers like this, huh?
oh yeah, just like 4 whiskers,
like,
looking like one of those like Heathcliff cats, one of those old school cartoon
oh, that's
cats.
a good. That used to be one of my favorite cartoons.
Oh my god, I loved Heathcliff.
Yeah. I used to read that in Garfield. I used to like cats, as far as comic wise. And Snoopy. I used to like Snoopy.
Yeah. I mean, cat comic wise, oh yeah, they were fine.
Yeah.
They were fine.
Oh,
Real
yeah.
cats are the devil.
Yeah, we got a couple. They got a couple. My kids got a couple cats. They got this Siamese cat that is just.
They talk a lot then.
Dude, nobody told me that. My friend Tony, he's one of my partners in this whole thing. He's in the cat. He said, "Oh, they just vocalize a little bit, man. That thing
Sounds off.
hollers. It hollers, and you go like, I'm gonna shoot in the face with a water gun. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah. Wow.
You know, if the kids leave, go outside, it hollers till they come inside, and you go like, what is this? You know, like I'm trapped, like they're trapped with the devil.
Oh man, it's great talking to you. At least finally face to face. I mean, it really.
Oh
is.
yeah. We've been parading around each other for a long time.
Yeah, man. It was at 2015, I think, or 14.
Oh, either, yeah.
It was what's that? Defiant Art.
Yeah.
That you put an ad in there, and
Oh yeah.
your thing, and I go, let me pull. Matt, this is the guy who actually made me pull out Caribe out of the dustbin.
Okay.
My a tray in my art drawer.
Wow.
Maybe
Wow.
I go, man, I can pull this out. I got to pull mine out too. And we've kind of like back and forth here and there, talked every once.
Yeah.
This is the first time talking to him face to face, though.
Yeah, sure enough is.
Yeah.
Sure enough, we've always been fans of each other's stuff as time went on.
You got some great stuff, man. You got some great stuff.
So I appreciate it. It just being, you got to be too stubborn to quit or too stupid to quit. I don't know which one it is.
I'll flip a coin. Okay.
Yeah, I was about to say they're close. They're close.
Yeah, because some days it's like, man, yeah, I could do this. And some days you go like, I don't know why I even bother.
Mm.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think that's common with any kind of artist.
It is.
Yeah, it's with anything from athletics to the job you do. I mean, just even as a firefighter, there were times I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. What am I doing here? It's I need to just stop and go like grow turnips or something. It's just horrible.
At least the turnips will figure it out. They did succeed or they didn't. It's not middle of the road.
Yeah.
Waiting. Waiting. It's going to grow or it's not going to grow. That's it.
Yeah, you can just disregard it and just know you got to move on for the next day.
Move on. Yeah.
Yeah, and moving on is just what, as far as being a creative, moving on is hard because it all starts from a dream.
Mm-hmm.
And as you dream, it's kind of hard to let go of a dream, especially when it gets inside of you. It's just a drive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that's what I always had big me, and I guess I got the entrepreneur stuff from my father. He was an entrepreneur.
Okay.
So that's what I kind of grabbed hold to, and and I'm a dreamer. I always kind of dreamed about big things, and sometimes sometimes you got to feed your ego. That would kind of made me into the be a firefighter too, because it's a lot of ego driven. Because it's just fun. It's just fun.
It is. Hard to put down, easy to pick up. Just can't let it go.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then by being enjoying doing multiple things, you kind of it's like being a chef. You got one thing on one eye that you got going full blast, and you got two other things on the simmer, and then you just be like, oh my god. And the hardest thing about it for me has always been hard is, and it's why I had to overcome. Like right when you almost there, you kind of get distracted by something else. You go, oh man, this just remind me of this thing I tried to work on 6 years ago. I only have one page to do here,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna start all over to that's something I just wrote, maybe introduction
Yeah.
on, and just waste time doing that.
Mm-hmm.
God, my Google Docs is messy. Messy, messy, messy.
Oh yeah, yeah. I should show you my screen. I burn so much memory on my computer just by tabs being open. It's I have, and my wallpaper is it's just like something exploded on it, and it's just to me it's like abstract art. The folder just everywhere is like abstract art.
Right. But you've had as far back as I can remember your design for your character that was on this cyberpunk, uh, uh, Afro cyberpunk feel and look, which just really caught my attention. You actually threw it out there. What people have been advising to do is get people's opinion. What do you?
Yeah.
And I was clicking crazy. That's our conversation. I said, man, I go for the face pass number 2 or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I enjoy doing that.
That was fantastic. I mean, you pulled in a lot of different artists,
Yeah,
various characters, but
yeah,
I think the real simple line work that you did, and you included people to say, yay, nay, I like this, I don't like that, A, B, or C, or whatever. But you pulled people in, and as an artist, like what's that guy's name? The big fat guy. They will taste no wine until it's done, type of. Who was that?
what's I don't know him. I can't think of it right now.
He did the War of the Worlds on.
Oh, you talk about the voice, right? The big voice.
Yes.
He did. It's not. I want to say Frank Oz, not Frank Oz. It's and my phone's right there. I could do this. I could do this. It's bugged. But I got to. I gotta get it.
Yeah.
That's the. We will release no wine until it's time. It's like I'm not letting this go till 15 minutes before it has to go out there, and even 15 minutes is a little too much right there for me. But that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
I have to say, that's what I really liked about your work was that you actually pulled people in. Just one way or another. Somebody said, "Oh, I do, I don't, I like it, I hate it, whatever." But everyone, what I saw was everyone really enjoyed your work.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's H.G. Wells.
Yes, H.G. Wells.
Yeah, H.G. Wells.
The big fat guy also works.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the work is and that's part of my fearless personality, I guess.
That's the name of the author.
What's that? Yeah.
Is H.G. Wells.
Yeah.
That's not the voice.
Okay, yeah. Who's it's I know he did the voice of Unicron, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's you got my nerd going on high alert. He got that deep baritone.
Yes. Heavy set guy. Well, another. We'll figure it out.
Orson Welles.
Middle of the
Orson Welles, yeah. Orson Welles.
Right, Orson Welles.
Thank you, Google. But yeah, Orson Welles was the voice in the War of the Worlds.
Yes.
Narrative on the radio in the 1938 radio broadcast that freaked everyone the fuck out. Oh my God.
Oh, I would love to do that to people.
They turned on the radio and they thought we were being invaded. I mean, wow.
People jumped out of the window. People killed themselves. People lost their minds out of fear. So,
I mean, it was the 30s.
Release no wine until it's time, type of thing is just how I felt about work. And you're doing clearly what is better and the opposite that I was doing. So I have to admit, you did it right.
And part of it, and it's so aggravating because, to be honest, when I do that, I kind of aggravate myself because you almost look for somebody to say something negative, so it motivates you to a certain degree. I kind of got this weird backwards thing because I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna show them I could do this, and sometimes it's to my detriment because you kind of don't take advantage of what you do well.
Mhm.
And but yeah, because I like the banter and I like the process, and I think that's what I've always loved, the process from idea to concept, because I love concept work. If you see, I just love concept work. I would get stuck on many concepts because Azakari was my sci-fi punk for Secrets of the Kush Empire.
Right.
And she has transformed from just something in the near future to she's expanded to the far future now.
Right.
And because I'm gonna re-release Secrets of the Kush Empire, and it's gonna be a second edition.
Okay.
And at the same time, I'm gonna introduce the book Eon, which Eon is the next step in Secrets of the Kush Empire, because I felt kind of limited. And one of the greatest artists that I've dealt with, this guy named Mashindu Kumba.
Yeah. That is I mean, he capped completely.
He's the godfather of
Afro.
just Afrofuturistic.
Yeah.
He
Nobody could touch his stuff.
To me, it almost challenges Sid Mead.
I've probably seen him
for Blade Runner and Aliens and a few other things. I mean,
yes.
But yeah, that guy is like cars, architecture, people, and each one has a different flavor from the next, a different character, and that kind of like all similar. But
and you still see he inspired a lot of people, even just in the concept car work and even concept architecture work that you see today, inspired off of his work.
Yeah.
Yes, he inspired me because he was doing a comic page for me. And again, it was like sometimes you have happy mistakes.
Sure.
Or happy misunderstandings. Because to me, it was supposed to be in the near future, but he made this page into out of this world. And I was like, I can work with this, And then, I'm working with this. And it really pushed my creativity further. And that's what I kind of addicted to artists, and to find a good one where we could kind of bounce off each other. It motivates me as a writer and a creator.
Sure.
And that's it's like being in a sport. Everybody got a gap to fill. Like I was saying in the fire department, we all got a part to play.
Right.
Everybody can't be on the hose to get the fire. Somebody gotta go get the line. Somebody got to do a walk around. It's all a process.
Right.
That's what I've always, and that's what it is for my creativity. I get off of having a good team, which finding a good team is hard.
Yeah.
It is.
It's everything. I mean, even when you look at interviews and they're talking about a film and the actor will say, well, we had a really great cast and crew.
Yeah.
The director, I couldn't have done it without my cast and crew. It really comes down to who's helping you make this dream. And if they're all passionate like you are behind the project, that's really how you get the best out of everyone in that instance. I mean, a lot of, especially comic book creators, because the industry, I mean, especially what I've seen is artists are just extremely helpful and love to collaborate with each other. I mean, I was talking to Ed Brown last night, and he has a guy working on his comic who was working on Aleem's comic, and it's just like, oh my God, everything is connected. Everyone's connected. So when you get all these passionate people together, this is why people are going to the indie comic scene over, Marvel, DC, stuff like that. You're getting less serialized, less formalized, cookie cutter stories, and more of something that you can actually sink your teeth into.
Absolutely, I agree. That's what I prefer. I think I've jumped into the graphic novel when I first read Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
And then, oh yeah, that was the first comic that I could hear a soundtrack in my head. I was like, oh my god, this is so epic. You just
Yeah,
and before then, Batman was just
boring.
pile cool from whatever it was
Mhm.
from the '60s, whatever that Batman show from the '60s.
Mhm.
And but he pushed it to a level, and then that's when I fell in love with indie comics because the creativity, they actually kill people. People don't come back.
Yeah, they're dead.
The story has an end, and I like the end
Mm-hmm.
of a story. It's just like life, so you can only do it. I mean, Spider-Man been around since 67, 64, 66?
Or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's been Peter Parker for 50 years.
Dude, I just finished the omnibus of the Superior Spider-Man. No lie, it's like
Yeah.
this thick. It took me forever to read, but it is, and they go over like Peter Parker's history. Like, oh my God, it's from the beginning. Like, no, way back.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's expansive when you look at it, and then you think of like what 5 villains that they keep going back to. Guy has the best rogues gallery out of any one of them. And you're like, yeah, well, let's go back to the Hobgoblin or the Green Goblin.
Let's go back to Norman.
Right.
I mean, they did try to make
one of
him
my
like
favorite
a Joker. They tried to make him kind of like a Joker, especially in the Spectacular Spider-Man, because it was the whole premise behind that. If you're not familiar, is that Doc Ock takes control of Peter's brain. And
I didn't know that.
he becomes a superior Spider-Man. He gets like spider bots all over the city, so he just kind of streamlines being Spider-Man. And Norman Osborn, he cleverly gets around that to still get under, get his whole plot point in there. It's actually it's a well done story. I mean, especially out of the newer stuff. You really, I mean, it kind of falls off sometimes on these storylines. Like, hang on, where are you guys going?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But that one, I found I had to read that one because I always liked the premise of Doc Ock taking over Peter's brain and how he would try to navigate that. And he ends up getting like a dwarf girlfriend, Anna Marie, and you're just like, what is going on here? It is off the wall, but
That's awesome. I got to check that out.
how it all
gotta check
ties
that one
together
out.
is really good, but it's still this character of Peter Parker. How do you make him something interesting? Well, you put his villain into his brain. That's where I was like, all right, you got me on that one. But most of the time, I'm going to go to indie. I'm going to go to, a comic that I haven't heard of. You know what I mean? You could pull up Amazon right now and go find a comic that you haven't found. One I found it when I was walking through Ollie's, which is another great comic source.
Yeah.
I love that shit. I love that store so much. I have to limit how many times I'm allowed to go because any money I had, they would just all go to Ollie's. It's a great store. Sponsor me. And it could work. But just being able to go out there and find the comics how you can. The Comic Cons is one of the ways that it really impresses me with, especially every time we go down to Ocean City, Maryland Comic Con. All of the amazing artists that go down there, and when you keep going to cons and you keep seeing all these artists, the artists that never really stop learning or stop improving, their work always stands out.
Yeah.
Because there's not, and it's not that there isn't a level of professionalism, because I was reading Spider-Man and I clearly found a place where they missed a word. It was like okay, you guys forgot a word there. All these indie comics that I've been reading for over a year, I gotta tell you, I mean, maybe misspelled, sure, but the words have been there. The art has been well thought out, and the polish is there. It's a lot like when somebody's making a movie on their dime. Everything gets a lot more efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same way. Oh, this is my time, my money? Well, we're going to get these lines right.
Yeah. And you would go over them because I just went through, just like I sent y'all the PDF of the book. It's almost finished. And I just kind of have people go through it and read it because I miss stuff sometimes. I'm a the forest person. I see the forest sometimes. I don't see the trees,
Hmm.
and I just need that detail, and that's why I trust people, the good people that I know, to give me input.
Yeah.
You know,
I was floored.
so
It's
I appreciate it.
it's beautiful. So
Yeah, yeah.
I wish you the best success, and tell us where it's going to be and where we can find it.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be on. We starting a Kickstarter. I'm
Okay.
almost. It's gonna come out May the 26th. Uh, uh, and
Excellent.
I've been working with Dr. Howard, Sheena Howard. Uh, she's been my coach, and she's been really pushing me because this book is this book to me. It's about just it's a revenge story,
Okay.
but it's also like an odyssey too. It's a journey someone the main character Ashada's going through from being like a goddess of hope and inspiration
Mm-hmm.
to having people turn on her, and then she comes back and want to wipe out the people who did her people wrong. And there's going to be so many different conversations about even life and motivations and souls, because her people's soul was taken from this upper conflict that's coming through the upper gods. Because one thing about life, what I've seen and observed, there's always something more. So that's the thing. It's always we think the sun is such a great thing, but in the universe scale, the sun is like a little bitty dot compared to some of the things out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that's existence sometimes. That's what I think existence may be, and it's about what we perceive.
Hmm.
So my realm of reality is like in the intertwining braid, where the future and past kind of interchange one another, and certain beings could perceive that. And she's one of the beings that could perceive that when she comes back from her exile. And she's and I want to show off the biggest thing I want to do in this book is show off different cultures in Africa, because I feel like it's under it's not represented as well,
Hmm.
except for the Egyptian gods. We all know about the Egyptian gods.
Mhm.
We can go to different places. We know about the Viking gods. We know about the Greek gods and the Roman gods. But again, Africa's a big continent with many countries within inside and different cultures.
Right.
Hmm.
So let's dive into that. And so her journey is going to start in Egypt, then
Well,
it's going
and
to
the
go
oldest
all the way
culture
down.
too. Well, and
Mm-hmm.
the oldest culture as well. We're still
Yeah.
finding stuff from our. We're still finding things.
Oh yeah.
It's that culture goes way, way back. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
even if you look at this
Yeah.
continent, they just found mammoth bones that were carved out and looked like they were carved and mutilated by humans. That was
Yeah.
130,000 years ago, and they're excited over here. Over in Africa, there are fucking buildings they haven't even found. Then, oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
we found this
Oh
whole
yeah.
big, massive. Oh, really? Where? Oh, right over there.
Yeah. Because
There's that
there's
culture
plenty we
there.
don't know, and there's a lot of things we could kind of fill in the gap with our imagination.
Hmm.
Right. Right.
Oh yeah.
That's
And
the part as a creator. What's the
yeah.
fill that gap, and how can you spin it? You know.
Hmm.
Yes.
Well, the Egyptians were good at spinning it. They never lost a war. They just
Yeah.
progressively won wars closer and closer to home.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they got kicked back into their own borders. Just like and it's funny because my first book
Everybody ruled
speaks
them
of
too.
yeah, everybody get kicked back to their own border eventually. Unless you kill every man, woman, and child, and dog and
Yeah.
cat, you're gonna get beat back to your borders. That's history has always shown that, from the Roman empires to the Greek empires.
Oh yeah.
Because you overextend yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. I remember. Yeah, because you can't keep the supplies. There's just so many things logistically you just can't do,
Right.
and people get tired of fighting.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
You know.
fighting is the one thing human beings have done since the beginning of time. But I mean, especially
Yeah.
when you look at especially the older cultures, I think there's a good opportunity for artists, especially comic book creators, to have fun
Yeah.
back there, especially now because there's such a highlight and a focus on archaeology and history There's a lot of people out there that are being called pseudo-archaeologists and stuff. One of my favorite people, Graham Hancock, loved that fucking theory of the Younger Dryas hypothesis theory. But that's what I want. I want somebody to be able to have the balls to go back, expand a culture that I don't know about. Because that's how people will, well, now I want a documentary on that. I want to find out more. And you'll get that content in if you're asking for it.
I agree. And that's the thing about comics, because it's like a history lesson, because at first mine was more of a history lesson. Because my comic kind of was focusing on Sudan and kind of bringing out stuff that was bad, but you got to have a balance. You got to wrap the lesson within something creativity. It's like putting medicine in candy.
Yeah.
And you just got to do it in a way that don't turn people off.
Right.
Yeah. And it's I think you really kind of can master that with character and story, because if the story is interesting enough, it doesn't matter what time period it is. People will latch right onto it. Especially if you're not a history buff. That's not necessary. I mean, how many people love Yellowstone? And it's just cowboys and Indians. It's just a certain period of our time, and people love it for the story, the characters.
Americana.
You know, how many times do you hear somebody saying, "Oh, I'm such a Jessica"? They relate to the characters that you put in your stories, and that's kind of one of the pats on the back. You're like, all right, I did that good. I mean, especially when you look at something like that, and educating as well as entertaining, I think is a fine line if you do it right. Because if you do it right, nobody will even know they learned anything at all.
I agree. That's a challenge, because this one guy who I seen, and to go back to your history, he took the story of Cain and Abel, and I think Cain is the one that got the mark of Cain, and he's having this guy going through history that he can't be killed, but he's going through these different phases in life from.
Wow.
It's pretty cool, that's what you said as far as going back to history. Well, what happened to Cain? We don't know. Let's do a story about it. Here you go. And I think he's doing a Kickstarter. I'm not sure, but I'm going to be a fan of it.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely get it, because I want to see that.
I mean, nobody's been killed for blasphemy for years, so I think we're good to play around with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while, at least.
Yeah. I mean, we got so many creatives here. I can go on and on about people who are supporting Kickstarter, and it's just, I think the time is right. I think for me, I like writing a comic almost like a novel, where you got a certain series and it ends. So
yeah, I mean, it is more like a novel than any other media, I would say, because you have to have all those classic points of a story in there. It has to make sense. It has to be compelling. It has to have interesting characters. You have to have some kind of message. You're not just telling a story about you going to the kitchen and grabbing some, pretzels and then going back to your seat. Nobody's going to watch it. Nobody's going to read that comic unless it's in the paper.
That's true.
Maybe Marmaduke, but could get away with that. But
I guess we got to give the dog some kind of love.
Throw the dog a bone a little bit.
Love. We got to give the dogs a little something.
Because there's a lot of interesting ideas out there, especially like, is there any particular genre, comic book wise, that you're really kind of chomping at the bit to do?
Sci-fi. I love sci-fi. Yeah. I love sci-fi. Believe it or not, me doing Asada was one of them happy accidents. Because I'm a sci-fi head. I just love sci-fi.
Yeah.
So I think Eon is what I've been biting at the bit with. And that's why I kind of keep coming back to, but I have to put it down to get Venom done.
Right.
Yeah.
But and a little bit of horror. I want to do horror also.
Okay.
Because I'm also a horror. I like horror.
Okay,
I
yeah.
like getting the heebie-jeebies. Sometimes I
Mhm.
like that a lot.
Well, I mean, horror is a big, it's a big, genre in and of itself. Some
Yeah.
people, anything
Yeah,
horror, it's right in their mainstream, and especially with a good horror comic. One of a lot of game. I'm a gamer, and a lot of gamers' favorite game is Dead Space. What is that? It's
yeah,
horror in space. It's a sci-fi. It's in
yeah.
space, and there's a lot of really good movies in and of himself
Oh
that are
yeah,
just in space, and it's simple set, one or two people, and it's
yeah,
horror because
Right.
you don't know what's going to happen. There's that suspense there, and
Mhm.
there's something physical that's so refreshing when you're physically turning the page and then you're quickly reading. Oh my god! And then you have to turn the page again. When you're physically turning the page of a good book, especially a horror book, you get this
yeah,
splash page, and there's a whole experience. It's almost like you're getting a one person show.
yeah,
You're the one person in the movie theater, and it's playing just for you. You're seeing everything right there, and that's one of the things that it's not lost in this digital age because there's many different markets for it. You have the Kickstarter campaigns that you can get your digital copies. You can go to Comixology or well, really, Comixology is the only one that has like independent and the bigs,
yeah,
but that's what when I did have an app and I paid for it, I went to Comixology because I was like, why am I just going to go to one or the other? Just give me
Right.
both.
yeah. I got to put my stuff there, and like the process of learning. Because at first, I tried to go there, but because I didn't know better, my pages wouldn't fit their recommended specs
Sizes.
for their
Yeah.
yeah. So I lived and learned. You know.
Yeah. I mean, and especially on the digital formats, it's a lot of nope, not the right size. And
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
Nope. Oh my God, is
yeah.
that annoying?
That hurt me. That
Yeah.
hurt me. But live and learn.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of things that come with just doing an independent comic, and Kickstarters are the biggest one because standing out on Kickstarter, especially in the sea of all of the Kickstarters, Indiegogos, Fund My Comics, standing out on that is really you know the crux there that's going to get you. Do you have a good comic with a motion comic? Do you have stuff in there for the rewards, stretch goals? There's a lot in there that adds onion layers to that whole independent scene because
Yeah,
you can get 3D printed, specs where if your friend has a 3D printer, you can have a little 3D object of your favorite
yeah,
character. You can have, a bookmark, a tote bag, that kind of stuff. You love it when it's at the Comic Cons and they're giving it to you for free. Why not give it to your friends for helping you sponsor, whether it be, a wallpaper or, a digital image, something extra to say, hey, thank you for supporting. I think that's why a lot of fans really, it makes it easier to spend your money on something like a Kickstarter because you're getting something for that you can't just go to a comic book shop and get. Even if you live by a comic shop, you get in there to sell your comic and somebody comes out to see you. It's an added benefit in the digital age of having anybody around the world be able to get your stuff and then get the added benefits as well.
yeah, yeah. Well, the Kickstarter I had one successful Kickstarter, and like I said, I had to learn a lot.
Hmm.
I made a lot of mistakes. That's why this Kickstarter is important to me to really finish what I started.
Right.
Because there's a lot of things that I didn't do right. I wish I could go back and fix. Like for instance, I had no idea what printing cost was.
Oh yeah.
No idea.
Yeah.
So you go like, wow, that's everything. I won't be able to do nothing.
Frank,
Yeah.
how many times do we see Aleem bitch about printing costs on Facebook? Because I see that and I'm like, oh God.
I had no idea. I was just so happy to get the Kickstarter funded
Right.
that you didn't think about. You just think, okay, I'll be able to knock it out. Then after I did the research, you go like, yeah, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad.
It's gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's
Wh-
gonna hurt. But that's why I'm super motivated with this one to kind of
Where
finish.
where are you going on tour for the summer with your book? Where can they where can the fans find you? What convention? Yeah.
I'm gonna try to do. We got this mall in Georgia called North Lake Mall.
Okay.
It has a comic store in there, and I'm gonna try to do a book release there.
Okay.
Awesome.
I forgot the comic name, but I want to do that because I want to I want to build up and go different places. I would like to try to make MomoCon, but I'm not ready for MomoCon quite yet.
Okay.
But I do want to go hit comic stores and different ones because part of my retirement, I want to travel. So I want to travel with, you know, do my stuff. So I would love to go to up north. I would love to go to California. But for right now, it's going to be mostly local in Georgia. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. And I want to hit most of the small mom and pop shops there and kind of build it up.
Okay.
Everywhere. So
Okay.
I'll announce that too.
Okay. Yeah. Let us know. I mean,
I got to imagine, maybe it's just me being, young and naive, but I got to imagine that there's a good con presence down in Atlanta, especially with Marvel pretty much helming their entire MCU out of there.
Yeah.
There is. There's because there's a lot of comic stores that do special stuff, like the one in La Vista. They have something, and he's a local guy. He's a cool guy. I got to get with him because he'll let me get in there and do a book release and everything too. And that's what I got to do. That's what I'm doing now to build up to the Kickstarter release.
Okay.
Like I said, the Kickstarter going to release May the 26th, and I want to kind of accompany that with hitting the road, like you say, hitting the road.
Yeah. Sure. Part of the promotions of the day and age, especially in comics, getting out there to the cons is still one of the best ways for fans to get out there, get the product, and talk to you about it.
Find you, everything, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things is just going out to cons, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
I've been to one con, and it's something that I won't never forget. it was stunning, to say the least.
Okay.
It was nice. It was nice.
Okay. Yeah. There's some really nice conventions that are out there. But that release that people want, they really do want to talk to you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even old books that I did, back, when people still ask me, just, what was the story and what were you thinking? I'll tell them old stories, but they really, at times, really want to talk to you about your book. So an independent book that's interesting, they're going to eat it up. So, they'll eat it up. The ones that myself, Matt, and a few other friends go to, they're all over, and Matt has seen it.
Oh yeah.
He's sat in my place many times thinking that he was Frank, and I go,
oh man, there are plenty of people that think I am Frank Percy.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I love your work. And I'd be like, oh, well, it's actually Frank's, and, he's out walking around. I can't draw.
Yeah.
But it is nice, especially when I love going down to Ocean City, Maryland Comic-Con, because the people don't care who you are. They're just happy that you're there.
Oh, wow.
I love, they just come up to you like, oh, thank you so much for coming. We love that you're here. We have nothing to do. This is amazing. And
it's a short, Ocean City, Maryland.
Yeah.
It kind of doesn't quite shut off, but it kind of closes down a bit more, because the convention's in December.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
December, so it's kind of a little slow down. But when that convention comes through,
oh yeah,
it's like crazy town. The whole parking lot is full. It is packed. So.
Yeah, if you get a good parking spot, do not leave.
Yeah,
that is my mistake.
Every
time.
Just walk to Burger King. That's all you gotta do.
Park your car at Burger King and just tell them, "Look, I'll be back."
Be back.
Just get those steps in, huh?
That's it.
Oh yeah, but you know what? I mean, especially because there are a lot of cons that, the Blue Hen Con. We were down there and they just rented out an old Sears and filled it.
Yeah,
there's some really massive ones out there. There was also some small ones, like HawkCon we were just at.
Yeah.
It was in the gymnasium, a bunch of people. They had a spot for showing movies, and there was a bunch of stuff for everybody on that campus. I think it was the University of Maryland. Everybody on that campus had something to do. There was something to go to. It was, you'll have some small cons that are, really good cons, and it's not those big ones like that are in the huge convention centers. Some of them are some of the best ones are actually ones that you'll go to in a gymnasium.
Oh wow.
Right.
Yeah, I gotta. Those are the ones I want to hit because I can't do the Dragon Cons and all the other stuff.
Yeah, some are so big. I mean, and expensive too. I mean, someone told me New York Con was almost $100 a day.
Oh, yeah,
wow.
and who was it? I think it was Mark McKenna or somebody else were telling us that you just kind of get lost in the sauce when you're like up at New York City Comic Con. They're not there for you. They are going for their favorite artist. You get a lot of people passing you by in those bigger cons to where when you focus on the smaller con, they want to see every table. And they're going to come back multiple times. You'll see people like, oh, I'm going to take a walk around and I'll be back. And then they come back and they're like, I've been really thinking about this piece the whole time. And you're just like, all right, man, it's this much. There you go. And they walk off. They're happy as shit. And, they're looking at the other 4 tables because they already scouted out. I got this much money and I'm going to get that, that, and that. The cons, and then you have the cosplay and everything. It's just an experience, especially getting in there with your product and seeing how much the people react back to you on your hard work, because the artists are some of the people that people will hover around their tables the most, just so they can soak in all of the artwork.
They are the rock stars that make it happen.
So
the artists.
It's
the
definitely
artists are just
getting your product out there into these cons down there in Georgia. I think you're going to see a lot of really happy feedback from these fans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate it because I don't think about that sometimes.
You have a nice product, so I really wouldn't, worry too much, so.
But I appreciate it. And I never got since it's our first time really talking. I just really appreciate you taking interest in my work because you've been there, done that, done did some amazing stuff. So it's really humbling for me for you to even take an interest.
I'm still there, still wanting to do that indie, type of thing, and I've got and a few other people helping me out as in writing. So I'm still trying to get mine printed. It's going to be black and white, nice color cover, but black and white because I saw the prices for color and I almost had a broke. I'm not even shipping. I don't live anywhere near these places, so shipping is one thing. But they say, well, if it's color, it's double the price, and I go, wow. So it's gonna be black and white, just like Batman black and white, and there was a few others that like all the Curtis magazines, like Deadly Hands, Savage Sword of Conan, Tales of the Vampire. All those were black and white, and they were fantastic. From crime fighting to horror to everything in between.
Well, it was like we were talking to Hector Rodriguez about of The Walking Dead. That's all black and white. On the inside, you get a color cover, and it is all black and white, and it adds to the story of you have black and white, and that's it. Having that, just those, it focuses on your art, it focuses on your story, and if it ain't good, the flashy colors isn't going to help it, but it really
it's not going to hide it.
Yeah, not going to hide it at all.
That's really where you find the metal really being tested there at the black and white stage. It's always interesting, especially when you see those features in comic books, having the sketch designs and then the script, and then here are those black and white, and here's the pencils, here's the inks, having that extra stuff in there and showing the art and the process to the people and the fans. That's one of the things that's also a nice thing once you get to the end of the book, to where you get that nice little, this is how we made it.
Yeah.
And you get that nice walk through. That was some of my favorite things.
Throw Xerox pages anywhere near my table. And everybody wants to see them. And I go, why? Why? It's just scratches. That's it. It's a thought. It's trying to put a thought down. But Frank, we want to see it.
People want to see if you doodle on a napkin. People want to see that. Okay, what are you gonna do then? You're gonna have a whole bag full of napkin doodles. You're like, oh no, just go through the bag. They're over there. Like, oh, then he's got the napkin doodles, and they will go through that if they love your art. They don't care what it's on, as long as the napkin's not used.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a good what you call it, reward. A
There you
bunch
go.
of napkin doodles.
Hey, you know what? And that's how you get cloned in the future.
Yeah.
And then it's 20, and then it's 25 of you just against the robots.
Sample, and he gets stuck back in the refrigerator. 200 years later, beat him up. Okay, when he comes out. Okay, yeah, no, I'm thinking no.
You go from writing sci-fi to being in sci-fi.
No, I'll do it on a card. I'll do it on a greeting card. I'll do it on a poster. I'll do it on a cover. I'll do it on an album cover, whatever. But I think I'll pass on the name.
The one I really saw that was really impressive was somebody was actually, they were drawing on vinyls, and they would draw on, and it was a whole bunch of old vinyls, and I talked to them, and they're like, oh, we go to estate sales, and we just buy these vinyls out and then comics out in the estate sales and sell them. I was like, that is really smart.
Yeah, that's cool. Because the vinyl art used to be a whole medium amongst itself back in the day. Vinyl art was what made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was huge. Well, that's what they had. I mean, no one's coming back to 8 tracks.
No.
Nobody. But
unfortunately, no.
But you'll find a whole stack of vinyl in the other room right there, okay? Because vinyl, there's something about it. It's just
it's beautiful.
Pop, the cracks, the sound. When you get that vinyl going, there's something about that you lose in the digital age.
Mm-hmm. And I never know. I'm not that much of a music guy, but I was interested why people prefer the vinyl more than the digital. So that'd be something to find out one day. I would like to know that.
Depends on their age. New kids don't even want. I mean, they hear it now because their older parents or their grandparents or older uncles listen to it. They put that big, huge bureau that had a radio, stereo, and a record player inside. Open leaves, and don't you dare touch the inside with your bare fingers.
I remember a snow day. It was before school. We had like a delay, and my brother just pops on Dark Side of the Moon right on the vinyl. We had it right in the living room, listening to Dark Side of the Moon before school. It's when you have that sound, especially from a vinyl. Maybe it's because in Philadelphia, one DJ, Pierre Robert, always has a segment of the day where he plays vinyl still at one point in the day, and he'll play 1 or 2 songs from a vinyl that he finds. So being able to tell, like, okay, he's playing this over the radio. He's not playing a digital file. He's playing the vinyl. So you hear the same pops and cracks and all that stuff from this vinyl continuously being spun in that same song. You know, there's history in those pops and cracks.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different ways you can nerd out. Obviously, we've gone everywhere, but with comics, I think it was one of the first words, one of the first fandoms to gain that word of nerddom. But there's a lot of subtlety and the differences between the artists. You know, especially even just from comic to comic, from artist to artist, from idea to idea. No 2 comics, especially in the same genre, are the same.
Yeah. One of my favorite companies was Dark Horse Comics. I love the way they did the Alien, like the sci-fi horror. I loved Alien and Predators and that thing. And like I said, so every company, like every comic book is so much different. Like I've always been I used to be a Marvel guy. I'm totally indie now. And Dark Horse was the last great comic place that I liked, because Dark Horse was just so. Because I like gritty. I like gritty comics. I like, kind of. I just like the gritty, dark comics, and that's what Dark Horse gave to me. That's why I enjoy Dark Horse.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're looking at dark, gritty comics, it's a feel to the comic that adds a little bit to it, and
Yeah.
you got a lot of that in the Jesus. I mean, a lot of that in. Well, I mean, what's grittier than Frank Miller's Batman? I was thinking Batman's probably the only one. There's still Batman comic storylines that I don't own. So outside of that, yeah, I'm kind of with you there on the indie. But especially like Hush, Three Jokers, there's some really good Batman storylines to where
That was good. That was good.
a fan was behind that. I mean, for somebody to go like, I know there's nothing I can add to Batman, but someone else. Oh yeah, I want them to take that and run with that character because you want to see him outside that. But there was a thing that it ran through my mind today, and it's DC is a lot more of like a mythological hero set than Marvel.
Yeah.
DC is more very like gods, and Marvel's more like, hey, your Uncle Joe has an Iron Man suit. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? How do you get it? That's the comic.
And I think that's what, and also what I would say about DC, because me and my friend Tony, we talk about it a lot. We talked about it today. That their villains is just not really that good. To me, but we always felt like they diminish their villains pretty quick. Like Zod. Zod should be a great villain.
Oh yeah.
But he never. Yeah, he should be just blowing folks out. But they never, because Superman has to win.
Yeah.
Or it's never. To me, I think the best villain really DC has is really the Joker.
Yeah.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
And for real, for real, he shouldn't be. He really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Because they got a lot of good ones there. They just don't develop. To me, that's always been the difference between. Because they got Darkseid, for Christ's sakes, who they copied Thanos from.
Yeah,
or Darkseid.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They copied him almost verbatim. And then you look at Deadpool. He was a copy of Deathstroke.
Yeah, absolutely. But Marvel, to me, has done their villains because they give them more depth. They make them interesting. Deadpool is an interesting person. He kind of schizo because he talks to different people that's not there. But it's funny. But he's interesting.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's why the movies are different than the comic. The comic, that is my Deadpool.
Yeah. And it's just a development. That's why I used to like Marvel so much, because Thanos, you remember the Infinity Gauntlet when it first came out in the 90s. It was amazing. You go like, he just slapped dude and broke his neck. What? I mean, it was just cool. It was neat.
Yeah.
For DC, it's more like when a bad guy does something, it seems like a more just gimmicky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Batman gonna get his back broke. Here comes Bane. It's like, okay, well, we know he's gonna get back up again.
Well, that's also where DC does see success in those movies, like the Christopher Nolan Batman series.
Oh,
they have not that you're adding depth to these really cliche characters. Like Marvel got a hats off to me when they made Bartrock the Leaper not corny. Like, that guy's Bartrock? Oh shit! What'd you do to the Leaper?
Yeah.
But that's the thing, where you look at the Penguin and Colin Farrell. Fantastic show.
Absolutely. That was a good show.
But what was he working off of? Danny DeVito?
Yeah.
The guy from the Batman, the 60s Batman? How deep was that character? Even if you look at the animated stuff, it really wasn't that deep until they took it to the Penguin in that Matt Reeves film and then expanded it with that series. Now everybody's like, oh my God, Penguin is amazing. It takes that expansion.
That's what they should do. That's what they should do more of, because, like you said, it's because the Joker didn't get really in the movies. He didn't get interest until
Heath Ledger.
What was the Dark Knight? Mm-hmm. The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger.
Oh yeah.
He didn't get interest until that dude.
Right.
He built from what Frank Miller did, and you go like, dude, this the intensity we need from a guy like that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many writing YouTube videos I've watched to where the premise for them teaching you how to write is the Dark Knight, right?
Yeah.
It's that
movie.
Really? It's the Dark Knight. They're like, this is the perfect story. And they go through the story circuit, and you're like, wow, when you point it out like that, that is a great film. So that's that Christopher Nolan thing. When you look at one of his films, he's a really great filmmaker. But when he took superheroes, he took them to the
Absolutely.
real world, and he brought a lot of depth to the character. That's why I think Zack Snyder's kind of love him or hate him, because he tried to do the
Yeah.
same thing. But you know, there's people who really love Henry Cavill as Superman.
Yeah.
There's other people who Christopher Reeves, that's your guy.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
trunks on the
Yeah.
outside and everything. I think that's why James Gunn went back to that.
Like, dude, why your drawers outside? Oh, that's an alien thing. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I like James Gunn's description on why he went with the trunks on the outside, because he said, "Oh, that it's more like a pro wrestler." So because he's an alien,
That's where it's
he
from.
wants to,
Yeah.
you know,
That's where it
be-
comes from. Yeah.
Yeah.
he
The
wants to
circus.
be nice
The
and
circus
approachable to
stuff.
kids. I'm like, oh wow, well that's how you explain that.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, man, wear your underwear outside. Go ahead. Just make sure it's
Do-
clean.
Do your thing, brother. Yeah.
You know? Hey, just make sure it's clean. Turn your pants inside out. I don't care. Call yourself Superman.
Right.
Yeah. Are y'all looking forward to see that movie?
I am. Even
I
with Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner outfit, I just God,
It just looks. I mean, Guy Gardner is a character. He's meant to be funny, but this borders on just looking ridiculous.
and he's the least liked Green Lantern.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can live with that. You know, the character, but you know, get the look right. You know, I mean, it looks a little.
They got the bowl cut. I was happy, like from
They
here
did, but
up.
really, his hair's not really. He's not really. I guess he's redheaded,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's not.
no.
It's what is it, bleach blonde or something like that?
Yeah,
Or-
it was blonde.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what
he
is
wasn't
that?
redhead.
I mean, like,
yeah.
I don't.
Minor little discrepancies
Yeah.
like that, but from what I heard, it's kind of like he's trying to do a Guardians in this one, and it's like,
Oh, real.
I mean, you got the robots in there. You got, you know, Crypto. We're not killing Papa Ken again. Awesome sauce. Leave the dead dead. Everybody
Right.
knows who this man is. We don't need an origin story as long as you go
No,
from
no.
Right.
there. You're adding
Yeah.
in
Let's
more
move forward.
characters.
Let's
Cool.
keep it going.
Yeah,
Mr. Mr.
please.
Terrific. What we have not seen him on the main screen. We've seen him on the small screen in the Arrowverse, but Mr. Terrific, absolutely get in here, bud. You know,
Yeah.
adding in Hawkgirl, go right ahead.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
You know, and all the characters they're adding in there looks amazing. You know, especially
Yeah.
Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. Fucking Miss Maisel, absolutely. Perfect casting. Perfect casting, Miss Maisel as Lois. And, you know, even David Cornsweet, people are giving him crap because of the suit. And, oh, it's not
Yeah.
right. Like, guys, you're telling me they can't touch that up. Millions and millions
Yeah,
of
they-
dollars in the movie. They're not going to touch up a little bit of, you know, elbow fat here. Like,
Yeah. Just some elbow wrinkle. Yeah. Just let it go.
and with CGI,
Just let it go.
with CGI, I think that has gotten people's a little bit more picky, because look again at Christopher Reeve's Superman suit.
Yeah.
You look at the,
Oh, yeah.
the Christopher Reeves, the Superman story, the documentary. That dude was jacked, and he did not look jacked behind that costume. He looked like he was ready for bed. You know, it was not like tight spandex form-fitting yoga outfit. No, it was just, you know, something you got for, you know, Christmas or for Halloween rather.
What's the pajamas we used to wear as kids? I forgot what they're called, but they were superhero pajamas we used to have.
Yeah.
That's what you would have.
And you had the little cape, you had that, and that was what it looked
Yeah.
like. But now you had Henry Cavill with the form-fitting Superman, no trunks, and everybody's like, "Oh, well, look at that specimen of a man. That's what Superman's supposed to be like." Like, guys,
Yeah.
none of these guys have a beer belly. All right,
Yeah.
none of them have a beer belly. They're all jacked.
Yeah.
You gotta curb your expectation a little there. You know, Christopher Reeves, everybody loved that man, but he was wearing pajamas.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah. Well, they kind of wanted that. They wanted to avoid. They wanted to keep that Batman, Adam West. they didn't want to see any kind of bulges, anywhere. Just keep it as neat looking as possible.
Yep.
Even Christopher Reeve was jacked, and they used spandex. I guess they didn't have all the modern.
Yeah, it wasn't like the
house-
yoga kind of spandex in there,
Yeah,
form
they
fitting.
had the regular like singlet, wrestling type of stuff.
Yeah, this was
They didn't want to
wrestling,
see
like
anything out there.
ballerina dancing and shit, gymnastics, that kind of spandex for the costume.
But nowadays they've got all kinds of materials now. But yeah, I mean, Henry Cavill looked, in his costume, but not Reeve. But he looked heroic. He had that. He carried off the whole thing in his presence. So
He did. One of the conversations I've had that they would like to see Superman more the more because people I know had complained about Henry Cavill Superman was a little bit more arrogant or had like the attitude, and he didn't give that wonder like the Man of Tomorrow. What I think the true fans of Superman want.
Yes.
And I think that's what hurt him the most because he was just, he was just, yeah.
I mean, Brandon Routh just got lost in the sauce because he was trying to be Christopher Reeve's Superman, and he wasn't. And then you had Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor. That didn't age well. There's a lot there, but that movie wasn't bad. I mean, a kryptonite island, and he has to send it into space. Like, all right, man, I was there for that one. But going into this one, I mean, having it more on that fanciful side of Superman. He's going out there, and I love how in the first trailer you see him going to save a little girl, covering her from the exploding cans or whatever. That is something to where you're trying to bring back that fantasy of Superman almost, because the first poster for it was "You'll believe a man can fly."
And that's the thing about it. To me, every comic book character got a thing. To me, Spider-Man wasn't Spider-Man until he made the sacrifice. Because just like with I forgot the young guy name who played Spider-Man now.
Tom Holland.
The other movies was good until he made that sacrifice. That's when you said, this is Peter Parker.
Yeah.
So they have to get back to that wonder. Superman will sacrifice. From the littlest person to the biggest person, he'll sacrifice and do whatever it takes. And that's what I think that was kind of missing, because you had, hopefully they could bring it's every character got that thing. Like Batman has his whatever it takes, but I still have morals.
Yeah.
But I'll push it now. Don't get it twisted.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and that would make Dark Knight Return so well, because he learned I should have killed this Joker a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna fix this.
Oh yeah. And that's one of the great things about those two characters in particular is how they've been handled and treated. And that's not to say Zack Snyder mistreated Superman. I mean, Batman Superman, I loved Ben Affleck's Batman.
I thought that was really nice.
Oh my god,
he was a great Batman. He had the physicality to be a Bat, but I think he should have been. They should have went to the Dark Knight Return with him, because he was older. He was just about as old was he when Batman came in the Dark Knight Return. So that's why they kind of dropped the ball.
I love those
opinion. He should have been to Dark Knight Return.
To where they have the comic version of Bruce Wayne and they compare him to the actors throughout time. Yeah. And you look at Ben Affleck, and especially when they transpose those two together, you're like, you know what? He was a really great Batman.
Absolutely. He absolutely was.
Was he handled right? No.
Because he was older. He should have been the Dark Knight Return. That would have been, because when he first became Batman, they used a lot of Dark Knight Return symbolism in that movie. Yeah. A lot of stuff was from that, and it didn't fit because Superman was young. They were just meeting each other. It just wasn't. I mean, that Batman with Ben Affleck made him more the old man, get out my yard type guy.
Yeah, he was Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way, but yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Get out of my yard.
Damn aliens to get off my yard.
Yeah. Do you bleed? Like, oh, okay. Come on now.
God, yeah, he was not having any aliens in that universe. I mean, but then again, Batman never really liked Superman.
Yeah, it's they was like I said, it just the premise of it was off, but it should have been. They just started the two franchises in the wrong time.
But
I would
people were
love it if they did
excited.
it again at the right point.
They were all excited to see in I Am Legend that big billboard of Batman versus Superman. They're like, oh my God,
That was
hopefully
cool.
before the
Yeah.
apocalypse. And then we got it. And then these
Yeah.
guys are like, what was that? Oh my God. I mean,
Mhm.
looking back though, I mean,
Yeah, but still-
sometimes movies are better in hindsight. A lot of times they're not. But especially that one,
Yeah.
you know, the Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League really, really saved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
'Cause
whole.
I couldn't watch the
thing.
first one.
Oh yeah, no, the CGI was terrible for Superman's lip. I mean, it's like me trying to go, nope, I don't have a mustache. No.
It's like using a TikTok filter. What are you doing?
And then you got to the Flash movie. You're like, guys, stop.
That was embarrassing. How much money they spent on that movie? Like,
Oh my God. And that was one of the
Yeah.
worst Batman outfits ever. One of the worst outfits for
Yeah,
Batman ever. With the whole like,
I couldn't watch
I
it.
think I saw it once, and it was just, forget.
I mean, they did kind of.
I wasn't gonna watch
They
it.
did banish Ezra Miller to the George Clooney Batman universe, which was fantastic. Fantastic. Like, you're going over here now.
Yeah. Yeah, go sit in timeout forever.
That is the timeout world. God, if we could just get that Guy Gardner over there too. You're like, hey, Guy.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Because the
He's
Lantern
already in
series looks
timeout before
good.
he even show up.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, yeah. I mean, the Lantern series looks good. That
Yeah.
one looks impressive. I love who they have for Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan. I think they got a lot of legs for that. There's rumors that Guy Gardner's going to pop up in that one too, but keep him aside. Let's just focus on these guys right now. Because
Yeah.
I've been waiting for a good Green Lantern my whole life. My first comic that I ever bought was Green Lantern 49 with
Really?
Hal Jordan on the cover with all the Green Lantern rings with parallel.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a
Love
great
that
cover.
comic. I love the cover. The cover sucked me in, and the story too. And Green Lantern is my guy.
Yeah.
And he has been shit on in this live action format. I mean, I thought we had it with Ryan Reynolds, awesome actor, shit movie. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, and now I just really hope we get something good.
The animation, much better.
Oh man,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
they even
Yeah, the
had.
animated it made him relevant. It made him important again.
You remember the
animated
3D
series.
animated series?
Yeah.
Oh, that! As soon as I got on Max, I was like, "Hold the phone." What? And then I remembered seeing the show before, and you're like, "Oh!" And it was a great storyline.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh!" Like there were gems like that where animated or even CGI, they had a gem and it just died.
Yeah. It died bad too. It did die good. Yeah.
Broke up
it was pretty.
wasn't it started towards the end, started breaking up too far apart. People started losing interest. Like I almost lost it, but I really enjoyed it. But when it first started, the series that it was fantastic, and all of a sudden they started going apart, further and further apart, and I started losing it. But I really wanted to see it. I saw it to the end, and I go, what a letdown, Like there's been some changes at DC at times that the new whoever was coming in, or I don't want to say, but may have just put the kibosh on it, and they did it with Marvel Heroes, I think, or something like that. They just, I don't know. They
New stuff, new regime, whatever comes in, you chop all the old stuff, whether it was good or not.
Yeah.
And
why would you do that? I mean, like you only
It's almost like a lion, a new lion when they come into a pride, they kill all the babies and try to make their own.
well, Marvel did
Just
that.
ego.
Well, Disney did that rather when they bought Marvel and they stopped Agents of Shield, which that was an amazing show. If you haven't checked that out, it's that one alone. With all right, you can't have any of these characters, but we want you in the Marvel universe. Make it work. They did, and it was a compelling show. So I mean, then they axed that, and they're like, yeah, that's a separate universe. They have nothing to do with us. It's like, man, add some of these characters back. because some of that stuff, especially from the extended universe when the rights were all, wonky, you still don't have them all. I heard something online about Kingpin he's going to stay TV because of the rights. And you're like, oh, so that's why you're going to do a Daredevil every year now. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So at least up until season 3, we're good.
Yeah.
It
comes and goes. They got some good stuff every once in a while. Cause I love the first Daredevil when it was out on Netflix.
Did you see Born Again? I mean, Born Again. Oh, fantastic!
It's okay.
Fantastic.
Is it?
Oh, I loved it. And especially with where they're going in the second season. I mean, with Mayor Fisk, that alone had me sold. And then with Bullseye and everything that they have in there, Foggy and Matt and all this, it's continuing on with that Netflix show. I highly recommend Born Again. That is
check it out.
Chef's kiss.
It would definitely get your gears going,
And they evolved Kingpin from Echo, which I thought, like, all right, you ended Echo off with shooting him in the face. Spoiler alert. But and then he comes in. All right, well, what's up with your face? But they explain it. And that's a big part of the story is what happened when you got shot in the face, bud? Oh, yeah, that's why this is happening. So the story blending in of both characters, Matt Murdock from the Netflix series, Kingpin, they already had this slow burn with him, especially with Hawkeye and Echo. They had these 2 series building up. This is Kingpin, you remember. And now you have Born Again. So having him as a baddie on the TV side isn't bad. And it does sell that whole street level and cosmic level superheroes that they wanted to do with Spider-Man and Daredevil being the street level heroes and then having your other guys. So bring in the rest of the Defenders. Let's see what you do with the series, I mean, I'll even tell Finn Jones to come on back. We'll give him another go.
No.
That's a hard no, brother.
No. Please shave that scruff off your face and go find a comic book series of Iron Fist and read it.
That's true. I mean, the best part of that show was the last 2 seconds.
Wow.
Because Iron Fist, I mean, since I have to say, let's just say the 70s, okay, sometime. That's how much I enjoyed that character. Gave his origin story was by Gil Kane and Dick Giordano. His origin stories of how he got to Kunlun, and I go, wow. And then I'm waiting this thing. Okay, Iron Fist, and I go, who is this clown?
He's not wearing the mask, and there was that whole thing.
Game of Thrones, and it's like that's not Iron Fist. Okay, he was white. Check. Okay,
he got that.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah.
That's it. He had to figure out how to use his Iron Fist. He already knew.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to go on because
you touch a dragon and then you figure, all right, I kind of got the handle of this, and I can use both hands, not just one. I know you want to have a little bit of character progression, but I mean, Smallville did that well with Superman because he was young, okay? This is a grown adult, all right? A grown-ass man that decided to leave his people, and he didn't even have control of his power yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And that made Iron Fist, sometimes they diminish their characters. You diminish, like I said, Iron Fist should be somebody that's already got a hold to his powers and just dealing with stuff. At least
rich people problems.
Yeah.
Well, that was
ninjas.
that was the whole idea with Power Man and Iron Fist. It was 2 guys with one with no money working together. I mean, I don't know why Heroes for Hire when the other one is richer than all, I mean, here, let's float you a check.
Yeah.
You got to have somebody send somebody an invoice to get money to do work when your partner is filthy rich.
Yeah.
That's a stingy ass business partner if you tell me.
But it's
hey, man,
it's weird.
Can I have $5? Like, it's a hard no.
Yeah.
My goodness. He lives in a penthouse and Luke is living in a theater, an abandoned.
I forgot about that. I
It's
forgot
like,
about. Wow.
I go back a little bit.
Hey man, I mean,
But
Luke Cage
overall,
stepped up in that
it's all
aspect
the book.
because he became like King of Harlem at the end of his series. So, and then
Yeah.
there's a lot of places that you can go, especially with Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. Those two series were great
Yeah, I thought
up
they were.
until the
Yeah.
last one. I mean, that second season of Luke Cage was just kind of like Black Panther 1.5, but it was still good. It was it was still good. It was just it
It was
wasn't
solid.
when you look at like the Punisher though, like John Bernthal's Punisher, that man
Yeah.
nails it in
Yeah.
Born Again too.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my god!
Yeah.
And we're getting a Marvel spotlight on the Punisher as well. They're doing a whole little
Yeah.
special on him. So Frank's table's going to be busy.
Yeah. He's a great Punisher. He's the best one I've seen.
Oh
That,
my god, yeah.
but but yeah.
There's a whole bunch of great stuff going on in the nerdy realms. That's what makes it one of the best things of being a nerd right around these times, especially in the independent comic realm, because Heroic Awards are coming up. Oklahoma Comic Con this year.
Yeah. Get your stuff, dude.
Oh yeah.
Matt, give him all the info as far as if you put your book out there, get it in that Heroic Award, man. It's like the independent, Grammys type of thing.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
Except
Matt,
more reliable than the Grammys because they have a set
Yeah.
amount of judges, and you got your judges for line art, you got your judges for color. Judges for color do color.
Really?
Judges for line art do line art, and they go through the submissions. And so it's a lot. It's one of the more honest and fair ways of going about how they do their awards show there. And I did the video and category and intro video last year. I'm going to be doing videos for them again this year, and it's one of the best joys, especially doing this podcast. Is one of our former guests, Jim Cantinelli, he got nominated for the Heroic Awards this year. I told him, dude, put it in. He put it in there, and he got nominated. It's one of those things. This is the Indie, Academy Awards, and it shows it's by Indie for Indie. And
Yeah.
Richard Dury, one of my favorite guests here, because he just constantly goes out there and finds awesome indie comics. He'll go out there on Kickstarter and fund a comic and help it get made, because that's what a lot of the indie universe is doing right now. A lot of the indie content creators are going out there. They're on Kickstarter. They're supporting other indie Kickstarters, and it's all just kind of a snowball rolling downhill, which is just making everybody else better.
Right. I would really recommend when you get your Kickstarter and you have you finished with it and you get it sponsored to
Yeah.
put your book out there. Matt, we can get.
Yeah, and they were at C2E2 last year, and they're going to Oklahoma because it's a more comic focused Comic Con. So I'm excited for those guys. It's going to be another great year, especially I sent a message to Richard telling him, like, dude, these nominees are looking good, especially with all the stuff they have going out there on the social media. They're letting you know who's nominated. I hope they do the People's Choice Awards again this year. Our friend Elena G,
so cool.
he got into the Final Four last year with his comic Diary of Sweet Pea. So there's a lot out there, especially indie content creators. When you hear about it, even if you don't make a cutoff for it, this award show is going to keep coming back around. It's an amazing thing for indie content creators. That's why I always like to plug it during this podcast, because it's an amazing thing that they're doing over there, because it's a lot. It's a thankless job, and it's a passion for a lot of people, but it is a job when you're looking at all the logistics that go into making a comic book and the printing cost, writing it, getting people to help you make it and draw it and color it and letter it and all of that goes into it. And you have Comic-Cons to get the accolades from your fans. Well, this is another step. This is your peers and other people saying, this is a really good comic. And then, I think last year they got them a meeting with Antarctic Press for the nominees and the award winners to talk to them a publisher, which is huge for a lot of these indie people, getting their comic out there. And this is one of the benefits, is getting awesome ideas and awesome comics in the, the zeitgeist and in the public knowledge, so everybody knows about these, and they can be, because you look at these streaming services and they're all just grasping at any kind of property to get it onto their streaming platforms. It's only going to be a matter of time before they look at these indie comics, especially ones that have been around and tried and true, good. All right, well, this is a good story. Hey, let's talk to this guy. It's only a matter of time before these major networks go to these indie guys and say, hey, why don't we work on an adaptation here? There's only so much time in the day, but
I would definitely highly recommend it, and we can find the path to get yours in there.
Absolutely, man.
What's the name of it again?
The Heroic Awards.
Heroic Awards. Okay.
But awesome award show for indie content creators, especially like yourself, that deserve to be, especially your hard work deserves to be highlighted. And a lot of these comics, I got the chance to, I fell on the grenade, and I did the editing for the videos for the awards last year, so I got to read all the comics for these nominees. So I went through and I read all the comics, and it was awesome seeing all the different ideas and all the different types of just genres and stories that come out of the indie industry.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah, that's interesting. I never known about that. That's so much.
And they did make it a nice weighty award, so there is some weight to that Heroic Award statue. So they took pride in their award. It is a nice award too. It's very nice. So that's coming in August this year for all of our indie comic fans, and they're going to be hopping around the cons in Georgia to check out your comic, and whenever they can. And your Kickstarter, send me the link when you have it, and I'll put it on our network so fans can hop on there and help support your Kickstarter when it comes out there, because this is going to be another one of those comics that fans, you're going to want to get in on ground level. You don't want to be that guy who's like, oh, well, I got to catch up. I checked it out. You don't want to be that guy. You want to be this guy that's at the ground level. He's getting the Kickstarters, the nice goodies back for helping out, get the comic up to a certain, get it up there. There's a lot of different really awesome packages for you indie comic fans. So I want to definitely highlight that as well once that's up, because we all get better by, all of us helping each other out. Rising tide lifts all ships, and it's one of the core mantras around here is that we love to, lift each other up and better each other. If you're a wrestling fan, we put each other over around here.
That's true. I appreciate that.
There's a lot of through this whole interview podcast with Frank, we've had wrestlers on, we've had comic creators on, and a whole bunch of different Perjangers on here. And one of my favorite is Tony Yolanda La Crema. He's down in the WWC heavyweight champ down in Puerto Rico, and just comics and wrestling go hand in hand each time.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because you have the good guys, the bad guys, the baby faces, the heels, the storylines, everything is just right there. So I notice a lot of the times I've gone to cons, the Blue Hen Con, when they're in that series, they had a whole section quartered off just for a wrestling event at the same time. So there's that hand-in-hand feel. You see wrestling at the cons, they'll grab tables, the wrestlers and the comics. They both go back and forth together. And we've gone down to, there's a wrestling event down around us in Gloucester City, New Jersey. Super crazy. They've had our friend Aleem down there to sell his comics. They have vendor tables down there sometimes. It's a nice event to get people out there, and you have a great story, a great time. A great, about 2-hour event with the kids and the family. It's one of those things that, especially, you sit down and you watch the Marvel movie, sit down, read an independent comic, watch an independent wrestling show. The indie market is where you're going to find a lot of the amazing content that is non-formulaic.
Sure.
I learned a lot from this. This is awesome. I appreciate you guys.
Entertaining and educational is one of those one of those core values that you got to bring it back to. See, people didn't even know they were going to learn something tonight, but we got you on that end. So I gotta say, it was fantastic talking to you. You're always welcome back on this show, and even when you have the Kickstarter up again, we may have you on again because
When
it's great talking to you, man.
No, get back.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to have more stuff for y'all, and yeah, I appreciate the opportunity.
No problem. Thank you, man. I mean, it's great seeing you and talking to you for the first time. But hey, I hope it's another time that we can meet at a con and really sit down and talk.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Sit down, talk, and just laugh. Just laugh, have a good time.
Absolutely. That's what we do anyway. But
Yeah.
we're professional, though.
Yeah.
Professional. Yeah.
Tell myself that every day in the morning.
Me too. I try to convince myself, but no.
All right. You're a professional. Let's go.
Yeah.
Just I try to hype yourself up.
Yeah.
I could do it. I'm the professional here.
Yeah.
You're the professional.
Yeah.
So, but you probably do it with a serious voice on. You stroke that little mustard. You stroke that little goatee. Yeah, I'm a
make sure the
professional. Yeah.
goatee's right, make sure that's all chopped up right, and then I talk. Otherwise, the stray hair that's poking out, I'm just gonna.
I wasn't gonna say nothing about the straight hair. I had to grab my hand so I won't do the little thing, but
No, I mean,
Up on the side,
get the Vaseline.
That's wicked though. That's wicked.
Yeah, get the Vaseline. Make sure that the beard. It's the only place I can grow it, and luckily it works.
It looks good.
I tell this
'Cause
story
mine-
all the time.
Mine will never do that. Mine curls on his chin and stays right there.
And you know what? I mean, I just
Not
kind
going
of.
nowhere.
It's the manicuring, a constant. You gotta make sure you get the nice evil villain stroke going on. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, because man, my kids will come cut this thing off when I'm asleep. They'll come get me.
See that it was about like for the first year, I thought the kids were absolutely convinced I was the devil because it was about the second week I was here. I got home from my job at the car dealership, and I'm walking to my house, and the little kid runs up to me, this little girl, and she goes, "Are you the devil?" And I'm wearing the fedora, and I'm just like, "Wow, that's an awfully specific question." Do you ask every white guy with a devil goatee that question? Come on.
She probably like, my mommy and daddy said you the devil.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, what do these neighbors think?
You say yes.
Yeah. I think that's different than the whole, if someone asks you if you're a god, Ray, you say yes. I mean, most of the times if people ask me I'm the devil, I'm just going to say
yes. You get
I mean, yeah, embrace the darkness.
You never know. Maybe the devil will get free meals. Like, are you the devil? Yeah. Paid.
Better for free meals, I'm good.
Okay.
I think I seen you somewhere. The Bible. You did. Yeah, that was me.
Adam and Eve, the snake, the snake and snake.
Hey.
I look different now. I look a little different.
Yeah, I've evolved over the millenniums, the eon.
Jaw became attached over a couple last centuries, but it's okay. Oh, man. So I'm going to direct everybody to your Kickstarter, and I try to end off this podcast the same way every time, and that's that we love you, we miss you, and we want to see you next time. Until then, game on, boys and girls. Bye-bye.
Bye.